Let me set the scene. March 24th, 2021. A little over a year has passed since the world stopped due to the pandemic. Kids across the US and a bunch of other countries were forced into online school due to restrictions. For a lot of people, this was hell. Me, on the other hand, I actually enjoyed it. My teachers were pretty lenient, so I didn't need to keep my camera on, and I was free to do whatever I want. It's my house anyway, what are they gonna do to stop me from getting water in my own home? I could literally do whatever I wanted, and my teachers wouldn't have noticed or cared. But I'm a nerd, so of course I paid attention to class. Anyway, in 7th grade, I had an enrich elective class, which was pretty much just a history and social studies class. My teacher tells us about our next assignment, to write our own original myth. It had to serve the same purpose as stories and mythology, to explain how or why certain aspects of the world came to be. For example, it could explain why lightning happens, or how seasons change, or why we're here on this lonely spinning rock in space, left to ponder whether there's someone else out there in the universe before dying and fading out of existence. What was I talking about again? Oh, yeah, my assignment. In 4th grade, I was given the exact same assignment, to come up with our own myth. Now, I have no idea what 10-year-old me was cooking, but I ended up writing 14 pages, front and back, for the myth. And that wasn't even a quarter of the story. I never finished that assignment. I asked my teacher for an extension and she agreed, and then we just both kind of forgot about it. I don't even think it affected my grade. Anyway, now that I had the exact same assignment 3 years later, I was on a mission to redeem myself and complete my unfinished myth. However, there was one problem. I knew this myth was gonna get long. Like, really long. For my entire life, I've always loved writing books and stories. I always shined in my writing assignments back in elementary school. However, they would always get extremely long, and no way in hell was my ego gonna let me hand in an unfinished piece of crap instead of the next literary great, so I always had to follow through. It was the same here. I had to make sure that whatever I wrote, it needed to be so good that you'd think Shakespeare himself was writing these words, no matter how long it got. So, I got to work. I already had a strong foundation for my myth since I knew the basic plot. However, my writing skills improved since 4th grade, so I polished the plot and added some spice to it. Here's a summary of the plot. There was once a time when all of the lands were together to form a supercontinent named Pangaea. The lands were divided into 9 city-states, each governed by a governor, but united by a super mega powerful god king, who was actually just a teenage human boy from the future named Anthony and had an assistant named Wolf, who was a wolf. Yeah, I'm not the best at naming characters. Anyway, the animals that lived there were kind and peaceful with each other, except for one dinosaur named Spike. Spike would always bully and terrorize the animals, which was illegal due to the Kindness Act being passed, which criminalized bad behavior. So, King Anthony brought Spike to his hotel, I guess, and told Spike that 9 plagues would be sent his way to punish him. Spike goes through the first 7 of these plagues, which included natural disasters and storms, medieval torture, being caught in a war twice, and his own mother's death. Pretty brutal, not gonna lie. But then, during his 8th plague, aliens invaded and told the lands that King Anthony was a fraud. Spike and Wolf worked together to bring down King Anthony, but Anthony brought upon Spike's 9th and final plague, a meteor shower that would destroy Pangaea. Anthony's goal was to restart society and create a perfect one, and kill all those that didn't meet the criteria of perfect. Meteors showered the land, causing massive earthquakes. Spike and Wolf managed to bring down Anthony and stop the final meteor meant to cause a mass extinction level event. However, the earthquakes were too much and broke apart Pangaea, with the plates eventually shifting to where they are today. Considering I wasn't too good of a writer back then, this was a pretty good story. Anyway, now that I have all this planned out, it was time to begin the greatest literary work known to man. First few days I got nothing done besides the outline. It was now spring break, and I had a week off from school. The myth was due on the day classes resumed. However, I just didn't have a lot of motivation to do it, especially knowing I had about 11 days to complete it. I knew that if I didn't start now, my procrastination would take over and I wouldn't get it done. So, I began writing. And I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote. 1,009 words in, I had finally finished the intro. There were about 10 more parts to my myth, and I figured each part would probably take around 1,000 words each, so I set a goal to write 1,000 words each day, and I would finish my myth in time. So, while everyone else spent their spring breaks playing video games the whole day, or consuming an unhealthy amount of dream content, I was busy working on one of the greatest literary works of my time. I was able to meet my goal of writing 1,000 words per day, and I finally finished. My final word count was 12,149 words. I'd completed my greatest work as a writer, and now I can finally relax. A few days later, I got my grade. 33 out of 30 points, with a comment saying, "amazing job" or something like that. And I am convinced he saw how long it was and just gave me 3 extra credit points. I'm not sure why I decided to go all out on this assignment, but I mean it was during the lockdown and all, and I really didn't have much else to do. So yeah, that's the story of how I ended up writing over 12,000 words for a school assignment. If you like hearing my yap sessions, make sure to like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you next time.